Good morning. Welcome to Winnipeg. Now, I had a busy day yesterday. Went out and got the lumber in the morning, or I guess timber as they say in some parts of the world. And then in the afternoon I went out on that e-bike ride. That was fun. That was a lot of fun. For those of you that don't know, I posted the e-bike ride. So if you want to watch it, you can watch it. I think the video is called First Ride of the Year or something like that. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We won't talk about that anymore for a while. I have a tendency to talk about what's on my mind. No, what's on my mind right now is the fact that I did not come back to the model table last night as planned and do the painting. You know, I just didn't feel like it anymore. I'd had a busy day for an old man. Okay, so we're going to paint today. Now, one thing I do want to remember, though, to talk about is got a comment from one of the viewers and was mentioned that on the module, I'll superimpose it so you can see what I'm pointing at. When we put this top down, well, maybe we're in step 16 here. If we flip ahead to 17. Okay, yeah, look at step 17 here. You'll notice that that we're going to be putting some stuff down on the top of the overhead bulkhead. Okay, now the overhead bulkhead already has 4 LEDs going down into the, I guess you'd call it the living area. But he was mentioning that in the upper part there, it's kind of dark. Now I do know that, you know, that the overhead bulkhead is going to be black. The outer shell on the inside is going to be black. These parts are going to be the light gray. So they will stand out, but he was suggesting maybe sticking an LED in there somewhere. So I might want to look into that. But I think in order to do it, maybe after we get the well, for one thing, the LED can't go down through the top of the overhead bulkhead. It's going to have to be somewhere. And I think what I have to do is get the hull back here and lay it out on the model table, and then put the module after it's completed in there, and just see where would I want to run another wire, and would another LED, and would now be the time to do it and fasten it to that module somewhere. I would think if you wanted to be lighting things up, you might want to have it so that the LED itself isn't seen. And I don't know how if that can be done. I think it might be able to. The way the outer shell is, I think it sort of curls around forward, and the LED could maybe be in behind a little bit. But I don't want a bunch of ugly wires being seen either. When you light up an area like that that's going to have a whole bunch of wires in it, maybe that's not such a good idea either, because then the wires are going to show up. Whereas now, if I put them on the black top and then paint the wires black, flat black, they're not going to show too much. At least that's my thinking right now. I'm sort of don't know what to do here. But what we do have to do is get this painted. We've got to get these railings and so on put on the bunk beds, and try and get this module done. Because in step 18, we start in the what's called the front soldier's living room. So, but that probably won't be today at the rate we're going. Okay, let's get at it here. Let's recompose and maybe paint our little parts there. That shouldn't be rocket science. Okay, I have not yet started to paint, obviously. And I was going to go in the back room and shake up my paint a moment ago. And I was noticing, I'll just zoom in a little bit here, that the pigment really settles to the bottom quickly in this particular paint. Yeah, it's. I guess it means I'm going to have to be continually stirring it, probably every time I dip. It also means that in all likelihood, instead of shaking it, I'm going to have to stir it, because it seems that the pigment is really, you might almost solidified on the bottom of the. Just for the fun of it, I'm going to go try and shake it, but I got a feeling I'm going to have to stir it. Oh, do you remember a few episodes back I was saying I couldn't find my paint shaker or paint stirrer that I'd made years ago? I came across it by accident the day before yesterday. Okay, at least now I know where it is. Okay, here's what's happened. A lot of time has passed here because I started messing around with my paint stirrer. And this used to have a foot switch. This goes back to when I was doing the Titanic and Lusitania back in the early 80s. And it had a foot switch, and it was kind of handy. And then for some reason I used the foot switch on something else, and that was the end of that. And just this morning I put this little button switch on here, okay? And I think it's going to be a lot more convenient for when we stir our paint. Now it's a little bit on the violent side. Maybe I should just have just one battery. We'll give it a try and see. I just have to be careful that when I remove this up out of the jar, or pot as it's called in some places, it's not going to splatter all over the place. So let's just recompose here a little bit and give it a try. Or you know what? I could probably just do it right here. Yeah, I just looked in the monitor. We can see the bottom there. Okay, let's be careful here now. Oh my. All right, now maybe we will get our wires back out of the way. We will turn this so we can see the pigment in the bottom. And you're going to see it being used for the first time along with me here. Okay, get this convenient and hold it down. Now we don't want this to go flipping up, all over the place here. The nice part about this is you can get it to go right into the corners. Now I'm thinking maybe I should have it going a little slower, but maybe not. Okay, I think we did pretty good there. So that's what it's going to look like. Okay, now don't push the button. Okay. Probably going to want to be shaking this in between each part. Okay. And we'll start with one of the little ones here. And we'll just sort of, you might say, flood it on. I think that in all likelihood this paint might be very difficult to spray. Yeah, I think that's probably about as good as we're going to be able to do it. It might look a little different after it's dry. Okay, and we'll get the other one. I was going to shake it, wasn't I? You know, it almost looks like it's creamed, like it's sort of homogenized or something. Or, well, I guess homogenized isn't the right word. Okay, and down here where the clip is, I'll paint that later. Okay, that'll be all right. Okay. Okay, now the bigger ones. Actually, this stuff goes on pretty good. It brushes really nice. At least as near as I can tell, it brushes really nice. You know, a professional painter like Gabe, he might think, no, it's terrible paint. Yeah, I do believe we've got everything that we can get here. I wonder if I should be sticking the macro lens on for one of these. Maybe I'll just do that. Okay, yeah, I think we pretty much got it there. Where the sprue connection is, you can sort of see it, but okay. That seemed to work. Oh yeah, I said I was going to stick the macro lens on, didn't I? Okay, there's one piece left. I'll put the macro lens on for the last one. I wonder if this is going to have a shrinking, you know, like shrink wrap ability. Yeah, I think what we've got going on here is this piece that I'm touching right now is a vertical piece that would go between the deck and the overhead bulkhead. And the railing itself is not really so much of it looks like a ladder, but it's not. It's a railing to keep the guys in bed in case the seas were rough. You would have had to have had a very special kind of makeup to been able to cope with a submarine life. I really take my hat off, as the saying goes, to those guys. I don't think I could have done it. I don't know if I would have been. I don't think I'm claustrophobic, but I don't know. Okay, let's quit poking at it here. Okay, let's put the macro lens on for the last one. It looks a lot like this. Okay, I have set myself up, you might call a bit of a jig here to hold this. And the idea being that when I rotate this around, it's going to basically stay in the same place. I hope. Okay, here we go. Oh, in case you're wondering, we are not moved in quite as close as we could get. This is another one of those situations where less is more. I'll get the bottom rung later. I'm going to turn it about 90 degrees here. Won't be at a very good angle for you, but I wanted to just get the top here before I turn it right around. This paint does seem to be a little on the thick side. I think it's probably because of that unusual pigment. At least I'm calling it an unusual pigment. We'll take a closer look at it at these after they've dried. I'm just curious as to how well the paint has shrunk around and done its what I call shrink wrap thing. Okay, let me just check this here now. I think I've basically got everything except for close to the alligator clip. There's a little bit out here maybe. No, that's where there was a sprue connection. Okay, I think we did pretty good here. Okay, let's let these dry and then we'll take a nice close look. Okay, so here's my problem. I was noticing yesterday when I was out on my bike that the bell did not seem to want to work very well. In fact, one of the viewers actually commented and mentioned how people didn't seem to be noticing it. Well, the reason for that is it just wasn't that loud. Now, in the summertime, this bell works great. In fact, here in the house, where it's probably about 22, 24 degrees Celsius, it works just fine. And the problem is that this part right here acts as the spring. Now, it's a piece of rubber. Now, if you live in Canada in the wintertime, you know that rubber does not want to flex very well when it's cold. So that's what the problem is. It's got a rubber thing going. Well, that's hey, it is metal. So what's wrong with this thing then? Well, you made a fool out of me, didn't you? All right. Another problem. I'll recompose and talk about that. Okay, the bell made a fool of me, but the brakes aren't. This time I know I'm right. Okay, now the right brake, to me, should operate the front wheel. That's what I'm used to. But on this bike, and maybe all bicycles, and I just never noticed it before, the right brake operates the back wheel. So I think I should be able to switch these around. It looks like it should come loose, and the cables look like they should just twist around. Yeah, and that way when I squeeze on my right caliper, it's going to operate the front brake, the front wheel. That's what I'm used to. Anyway, it's not a big deal because normally I squeeze both at the same time anyway. Okay, yeah, that stupid bell. Okay, and now for our nice close look. Number 24. Number 25. Number 26. Number 43. And number 45. Our walking friends did come by this morning, but as you can see, it's kind of gray and cloudy, so we're not going to be having a sunrise this morning. Anyway, yeah, they came by. Okay, I am not seeing anything on these bunks that indicates where these are supposed to be attached. For instance, the G24, this one, is supposed to go right here, and I don't know if you can see it or not, but the hole that it's supposed to go into is right there. So yeah, that's you might say a positioning point. And this is my first time trying this. I've got this whole thing sort of angled over at about a 45-degree angle, and we're going to try and let gravity be our friend here. So if this goes in that hole, and it kind of does, then I guess the edge of this is supposed to just glue against the maybe I should turn this whole thing a little bit more this way, so that the railing is laying more on the edge of the bed, rather than. I wonder if it would be a good idea to sort of do that and position all of them before I start gluing, because if I glue this in place and find out it should be a millimeter more one way or the other. So let's just do that. I have a little block of wood underneath there. I thought I had it at the right angle, but obviously I don't. Okay, so that it's going to want to stay in place there. Then the next one that we have to put in is the, okay, they want us to put in the 45, which is over here. And I don't think it matters which way it goes, up or down. And it goes in that little hole here. Yeah, it actually fits in the hole. Okay, then the next one we got to do, maybe I should reposition a little bit here so that you can see it better. I can see it really good because I'm basically looking straight down, but you're getting blocked here by these tanks. So just let me recompose here a bit. Okay, when I was readjusting everything here, I came up with a bit of an idea. And that is, for instance, now we've got to try and get this one like this, and it has to fasten onto, this is, okay, it has to fasten onto the edge of the, onto the edge of the bed like this, and also onto that single rail that goes, that vertical rail. Okay, let's get the other piece in place. What is it? The 25. Well, it's the only one like that left. Okay, here we go. 25. Okay, it almost looks like I didn't paint that bottom rail, and it has to stick into this hole. I don't know if you can see it. I can barely see it. Goes like that. Okay, then I guess the 43 here, okay, what I had originally thought of it was that maybe it would be easier to just lay this whole thing out on a piece of wax paper and glue it all together, but why will it not go in that hole? There it is. Okay, it goes like that. Then this piece would go like this. Okay, so that's the way it's all supposed to go, but if I let go of this, it's going to fall through again. So, okay, would that work? Could I get everything nice and square? Just lay all of this out on a piece of wax paper and then attach this to this, if you know what I mean, right there. and where this other one is loose, attach these two, and then this would all be together. I'm just going to do that. I'm just going to lay it out and see how it would look. I don't want to get these pieces mixed up here. Well, I guess the only two that could possibly get mixed up would be this one and this one could be flipped around and wrong. And I believe that this pole here is probably a lot longer than this pole because the roof tapers down at an angle. Okay, I've got myself a piece of cereal box waxed paper, and I'm just sort of thinking now that maybe this is not a good idea, and here's the reason why. Okay, we know that this piece is supposed to go. Let me get this out of there. Okay, we know that these are supposed to go basically like this, with a pole in between. But the problem is, how far up or down does this whole pole have to be? I suppose a person could measure from where the hole is that this pole goes into to the bottom of the bunk, but in other words, this is not a good idea. I'm afraid that it's going to be a little bit askew afterwards. So I'm going to bring the module back and maybe lay it more on its side. I'm not sure. Okay, so the problem child is this one right here. I wonder if I could somehow use the helping hands to hold it at just the right angle. I'm going to give that a try. If I could get the helping hands to just hold it at just the right angle and then tack everything, maybe with the Revell Contacta. Oops. Oh. I keep bumping it. Okay, I think that this one is okay. Oh, Ron. This is so frustrating. No. I think that this tweezer has to come up just a little bit. It's just not quite at the right angle here, and it has to twist over so that the top is more towards you. So I'm going to just try and do that here now. and then bring it down. Okay, I'd like to have a little bit of pressure on that bunk, and it is right now. But I think that it has to come to the right a little bit. Let me check the monitor. Oh, maybe not. Okay, from arm's length, that actually looks pretty good. So let me check the monitor again. Okay, I'm just going to leave it there and see if I can't tack everything in place. I don't know if the Revell contact is the way to go. I don't want to use the extra thin because it'll have a tendency to run. Might be a good idea to apply the glue with maybe the end of a toothpick or something. Maybe one of Gabe's swabs without the swab. Okay, here's what's happened. After I last saw you, I tried to readjust everything to make it just a little bit better. Well, I ended up with a couple of pieces down underneath the bunk beds, and I had to take everything off and turn the module upside down and shake it out. And all right, I couldn't find the Revell contacta. It's got to be somewhere. So I'm going to use this, just not with this applicator though. I'm going to use a toothpick. Just put this applicator off to the side here. And the idea is I'm going to try and get a little bit of maybe that's not enough here. Okay, now I want to try and just touch it. Oh, Ron. Okay, stop. When I was repositioning here, I was reminded of a game that I used to play when I was a kid, and it was called Pickup Sticks. Now I'm trying to get some on the end of this toothpick here, and just maybe that's not enough. Okay, maybe that's too much. It probably was too much, isn't it? Because we're going to have glinting going on there, and I don't know if I could well, maybe I could use flat clear on that to hide it. Okay, so we got that one. Now can I do... Now don't bump anything. Watch what you're doing. Okay, got that one. As far as I'm concerned, those were the crucial ones. Now let's just... Oh, that's too much. I need an applicator that will give just a very small amount. Something like that. I think that went not too bad. And I'm reaching over very carefully, trying not to bump the helping hands. Unfortunately, this kind of glue does not shrink, or at least not very much. It'll evaporate to a certain extent. Okay. Did I do here? Anybody remember? I don't think I did. Well, I did now. Okay. Now that center one, I think maybe we should try and fasten it against the yeah, just let that flow. It's a little bit heavy, I know that, guys. I know that I got it pretty heavy there. Now, I think what we're going to have to do now is let this sort of sit probably overnight, because this glue doesn't dry very fast. I wonder if I should be putting anything on the... no, you know what? They're excuse me. The bottom of the poles are stuck in the floor deck, and I think that in all likelihood they're going to basically stay there. So I think we'll just leave it the way it is and see if we can get the overhead bulkhead in place. But you know what? I'm going to have to call it quits here. I was going to say I'm stressed out, but I'm really not. Thanks for watching, everybody. And all being well, we're going to see you tomorrow.